Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for returning for another segment. We're going to be speaking with Dr. Bob Dagher in this segment, Chief Medical Officer at Enveric Biosciences. It's a biotechnology company dedicated to developing novel small molecule therapeutics to transform the treatment of anxiety, depression, and addiction disorders. He's going to talk about the company's lead candidate. It's a next-generation psychedelic that's been rationally designed to optimize delivery, offer dosing flexibility, and also achieve therapeutic benefit at a low dose. Enveric has harnessed the world's foremost library of psychedelic derivatives, the Psybrary. It's a unique discovery and development platform. Welcome to Health Professional Radio, Dr. Bob Dagher.
Thank you, Neil, and thanks for the opportunity to join you and discuss our science.
What led you into psychedelics? Is that something that you've always wanted to be involved in medicine?
Well, psychedelic research has gone a long way in recent years. I started as a physician. I'm a psychiatrist. I had a practice for a number of years before progressing my career to join the pharma industry for drug development. I have particular interest in bringing new medicines to patients. Myself, as well as all the clinicians who care for patients with mental illness, we see significant need to bring new medicines that make a difference. And here with the psychedelic research data that has been coming in recent years, we see great promise. I have a hope to bring medicines that will be transformative for these diseases that are honestly very difficult to treat.
Well, I did, of course, mention the Psybrary. Tell us more about Enveric's discovery and development platform, the Psybrary, if you would.
Sure, yeah, happy to do so. So Enveric is a young biopharma company. It started a few years ago, 2-3 years ago, leveraging smart chemistry and along with synthetic biology. The scientists, we have a group in Canada, were able to design and manufacture a large number of new chemicals in the lab. They employed the artificial intelligence to layer on top specific attributes that we're pursuing that would render the molecules safer, have optimal drug-like properties, the way they're ingested, they enter the body, they go to the brain, they have a pharmacodynamic effect on the target specific areas. So we call that Psybrary, which is a library of psychedelic-inspired molecules, but they're totally brand new molecules now.
As far as the current standard of care for mental health disorders is concerned, how do psychedelics differ in treating those conditions?
Sure. So when I started my practice back in the day, we had an arsenal of medicines which remained the same largely, starting with the originally used to be, we called them the tricyclic antidepressants, and then we got the serotonin reuptake inhibitors or SSRIs, and those are used for treatment of mood disorders and also in anxiety, in addition to the benzodiazepines that tend to be addiction, have some considerations with them that limit their usage. Same for the antipsychotics as well. Despite all what we have today, there is a significant need to get better treatments. So the understanding of the mechanism of action of these psychedelics has improved significantly. We have new insights that came in recent years. We currently understand, if you take one example, psilocybin, for example, once ingested, it goes in the GI tract. It releases the active molecule, which is called psilocin. That molecule has entered the brain, have a specific target areas there, a number of subset of serotonin receptors. One of those is called the 2A, the serotonin 2A receptor that triggers this psychedelic or mind-altering experience. It's an acute state of when the distortion of perception starts, and it lasts a few hours. But then what's important, what comes after that, so it's a single exposure that is followed by a very long benefit on anxiety, depression, PTSD. That benefit can last weeks or months just by being exposed to it once. So it's very, very encouraging for us to see that.
Enveric's EVB300 series of therapeutics, they do differ greatly from your earlier generation of psychedelic-inspired drugs, do they not?
Yes, exactly. So we're on the third generation now of developing molecules. Third generation being the plant-derived molecules that we know, the magic mushroom, psilocybin, cactus, ayahuasca, etc. So those are the first generation. They have the considerations. We have a number of concerns and attributes that we wish to remedy by creating next generation compounds. The intensity of the effect when you ingest these molecules, the long duration of effect of mind altering, the side effects of GI upset, headaches, cardiac problems. We want to improve all of that. So we started with a second generation. Now we have a lead candidate. We call it EB373, EB for Enveric Biosciences. 373 is aimed at providing a better nuanced experience and less side effects, and it's already in preclinical stage right now. And the third generation is EBM301. We aim this generation to be non-psychedelic, to eliminate that mind-altering experience by targeting and designing, by design, the molecules, where they go in the brain and how they interact with the brain receptors. And hopefully we aim to have no safety concerns, which, by the way, deemed those first generation scheduled. They're now illegal since 1970 because of the Controlled Substance Act. So they're only used under supervision of healthcare professionals right now. So with the third generation, there's a promise for larger use, and hopefully we'll be successful in doing that.
Are there specific mental health disorders that Enveric is exploring treating, or are you looking at disorders across the board in your planned clinical trials?
Sure, yeah. In my experience, personally, I was part of many programs in neurology and psychiatry indications, a lot of mental health indications. Looking at the data coming from the psychedelic as a group, we see in front of us utility for mood disorders, depression, treatment-resistant or acute effect, rapid onset of effect, etc., as well as anxieties, the different types of anxieties, generalized anxiety, social anxiety, obsessive-compulsive anxiety disorder, as well as trauma, post-traumatic stress disorders is another target, anxiety in cancer, or what we call cancer-related distress, as well, addiction, smoking, alcoholism. There are a number of indications in mental health that are amenable for the benefit from psychedelics.
As far as FDA approval, how soon do you think that we can expect this approval for some of these psychedelic-based therapeutics in the patient population?
So as a drug developer following the space, we do know that you need to be successful in the phase 3 program by carrying 2 parallel phase 3 studies, large studies usually, and that those come after proof of concept phase 2 and after a phase 1 safety study in healthy volunteers or sometimes in patients. And with this 2 phase 3 study is that were completed, this one program we know of is from the multidisciplinary MAPS carrying basically NMDA or ecstasy or Molly, NMDA in post-traumatic stress disorder. Once that application is collected and filed, usually takes about a year for FDA to review filing in the U.S. So that's the most progressed program of MDMA and PTSD that we have. Following that, we have a program right now with psilocybin, just first generation psilocybin, and treatment-resistant depression by Compass Pathways. And that program is currently in phase 3. So we need to finish those studies. Hopefully, if they're positive, both studies, then you'll have to file the application and get approval. So it's a little ways ahead, still ahead of us.
Give us a website where our listeners can learn more about the developments at Enveric.
Sure, yeah, I'd be happy to do so. It's easy. It's basically www.enveric.com, ENVERIC.com.
Great. Doctor, I appreciate you lending us some of your time this morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on Health Professional Radio.
Neil, thank you so much for the opportunity to join as well. Enjoy your day.
You as well. You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Dr. Bob Dagher. Audio copies of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, listen in, download at Anchor or Spotify, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Health Professional Radio.